Do you know the exact reason why we always ask you to solve the previous year questions? It's not simply because we want you to know the pattern, but there's a secret hidden behind it, right? Because in previous year questions, there are some minor details that we usually tend to miss out during our textbook reading. And in today's video, you'll know the exact reason why doing your previous year questions are very important, and also why we need to devote a complete day for one exam. So hello everyone, welcome to Score Settled. Now, usually students tend to follow this technique that they'll pick up a question paper, they'll solve it, know what's right, know what's wrong, and then get over with it. No, you need to devote one complete day towards that particular paper and see where you're going wrong, what important information you're missing out. Right? So, we'll be discussing some questions here in today's video. So, let's start. Now, the first question is that the concept of efficiency wage theory was developed by. Now, first thing that you need to know is that what exactly is efficiency wage theory. Now, in this case, efficiency wage theory is that in equilibrium, usually wages are equal to your market rate. But efficiency wage theory states that your wages should be greater than the equilibrium or market clearing rate. Now, why is that so? This is simply because that if a worker is getting wages higher than the market clearing rate, then in that case, he will be lured to work efficiently and productively, right? So the productivity would increase in that case. So simply to enhance the productivity and the efficiency that we get out of the workers, the companies usually tend to pay a wage rate higher than the prevailing market rate. Okay, so that is what is stated in your efficiency wage theory, and this was given by Yellen and Stiglitz. So the answer is 1. Now, it is important that what ideas were presented by these two economists. So Yellen basically states that his main idea was on human psychology. His main theory was based on human psychology, and he stated that if we are giving fair wages or wages higher than the prevailing rate, then also what will happen? It will boost the morale of the worker, that the company values his or her contribution. So he will be encouraged to work harder for it. Second reason that he gave was that also when the workers are paid a wage higher than the market rate, then that will also prevent them to leave the company, right? And as a result, hiring the new workers, training them, all such additional costs will be saved by the company. So that was Yellen's idea. Stiglitz, on the other hand, states that when the workers feel that there is no additional cost in shifting, right, when they're getting the wage rate equivalent to the market wage rate, so there is no as such additional cost that they're bearing in shifting the companies, right? So they will shift quickly, right? So that will be a cost for the company rather. Okay, so that is one reason why companies should pay a wage higher than the market prevailing rate. Second is that if all companies are paying a wage higher than the market rate, then as a result, what is happening is that the cost of labor, it is increasing. And once this cost is increasing, then also the number of jobs that are available in the market, that will fall. And what will happen? There will be an involuntary unemployment that will be created in the market. So Stiglitz said that if we are adopting this efficiency wage theory, let's be prepared that we are going to face an involuntary unemployment kind of a situation. Next question. In the Cobb-Douglas production function, we are given Q is equal to A L raised to power alpha, K raised to power beta, where A, alpha and beta are all positive. The parameters alpha and beta measure. So let's just directly come to the answer. It is output elasticities of inputs. but it is very important. The Cobb-Douglas production function is very important, and it has maximum chances of coming up in the exam, right? So we should know that what are the meanings of other parameters that are there in this, right? First is that Q, we should know that is the total output that is there, that is produced using labor and capital. A is given as your efficiency parameter. Okay, efficiency parameter. L is nothing but labor. Okay, then K is nothing but capital. And alpha and beta, as we know, they are output elasticities of inputs. Okay, but what is the main importance of it? The main importance that we come up from the Cobb-Douglas production function is that we get to know that what are the returns to scale, right? So we should know, very important, that if alpha plus beta is equal to 1, it is a constant returns to scale kind of a situation. If alpha plus beta is greater than 1, it is an increasing returns to scale. And if alpha plus beta is less than 1, it is decreasing returns to scale. So this is very important. Cobb-Douglas production function and even constant elasticity of substitution is very important from the microeconomics portion, right? Okay, moving on to the next question. Now this is an Indian economy related questions, and these acts and bills, they are very important, right? Especially in your chronological ordering kind of questions such as this one. Okay, so let's arrange this. We should know the years. So IRDA Act was passed in Parliament in the year 1999. Concept of financial inclusion introduced in the banking sector was in 2005. Global Trust Bank merged with UTI Bank was 2001. 364-day Treasury Bill introduced with market-related interests was in 1992. And Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act was in 2003. So this one has absolutely no doubt, right? So using this, starting from the oldest, we can say that the order is D, A, C, E and B, right? So the answer is option 1 in this case, okay? Moving on to the next question. Now this is a very important question, and get your pens ready because there is too much writing in this one, okay? So let's start. Arrange the following taxes in the sequence in which they were introduced, starting from earliest to latest. So Commodities Transaction Act was introduced in 2013. Now what was this Commodities Transaction Tax? It was basically the charges levied on non-agricultural commodities, right? Non-agricultural commodity futures and options. Okay, so nothing related to agriculture, but non-agricultural, your commodities, futures and options, to curb any kind of speculation activities and also to generate additional revenue for the government, right? So that was the main objective of introducing this tax. Next is your Securities Transaction Tax. It was introduced in 2004. And what was its major objective? Its major objective was to prevent any sort of evasion of capital gains, right? Any sort of evasions made under capital gains, right? So that was the main objective of your Securities Transaction Tax. Next is Banking Cash Transaction Tax. It was introduced in 2005 and it was basically levied on any kind of cash withdrawals, exceeding rupees 50,000 for individuals and also rupees 1 lakh for others in a single day, from non-savings bank account. So if you have any kind of a non-savings bank account and if you withdrew as an individual 50,000 rupees, or as others in the sense that companies or any sort of entity, if you withdrew more than 1 lakh, then you had to pay Banking Cash Transaction Tax. Again, I'm reminding you, this is not applicable on savings bank account. It is only applicable on withdrawals from accounts other than your savings bank account. Okay. Next is minimum alternate tax, right? It was first introduced in 1987. Then it was withdrawn in 1990. And then it was again introduced in 1996. Right? And what was the major purpose of this tax? Was minimum alternate tax was that it was basically to bring all sorts of zero tax companies, right, those who were showing that they were having high profits but were paying no taxes, right? It was main objective was to bring such companies under the tax net. So in simple words, the companies that were showing high profits but in some way or the other they were not paying any taxes, so the objective was to bring such companies under the tax net. Okay. Last is your angel tax. It was introduced in 2012, and basically the idea was to prevent any sort of money laundering in this case, and also to identify the circulation of your unaccounted money. Okay, so this was a very important question. Please note all this information down, right, when you're preparing for the Indian economy portion. Last question is, which of the following combinations of theorems and their subjects are correctly matched? Now in this question, we are going to use the strikeout method. Now what is the strikeout method? For example, first thing that we know is that Arrow's impossibility theorem is related to social choice, right? So C has to be there. C is the right thing, right? Match the following. So C has to be there in the options. So it is not there in option 1. It is not there in option 2, right? Second thing we know is that Stopper-Samuelson theory is not related to capital structure. It's mainly related to your international trade. Okay, regarding the prices of the factors of production. It is not a capital structure theory, but Stopper-Samuelson theory was mainly on your international trade. So this match the following is wrong. So D should not be there. So in this two, D is there. So we come up with your answer 4th, right? So after this video, I hope you got to know that why solving previous year papers is very much important. It is not necessary that you just solve the papers in 2 hours, take half an hour to check your answers and then get over with it. Not at all. Spend one complete day on that paper, solve it first, give it complete 2 hours, solve it, and then identify what all information you can extract from it and write it down. Spend the last 10-15 days in doing this kind of a practice, okay, and it will help you considerably in your exam. Okay, so I hope this video was useful, and we'll come up with another set of questions in the next video. Till then, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.